The galaxy was full of whispers. Every star system carried the same tale. Every traveler repeated the same warning. Somewhere hidden on a lonely world lived a blind alien princess. She was said to be cursed. She was said to bring destruction if she ever woke from her silence. Even the bravest fleets refused to travel near her world. The name of her planet was spoken only in fear. For generations, the galaxy kept its distance. But humanity was different. Humans were new to the great network of stars. They were curious, bold, and often reckless. When others told them to run, they wanted to know why. So when an old distress signal was discovered, coming from the abandoned palace of the blind princess, humans decided to investigate. Their leaders warned them. The alien council demanded they stay away. But curiosity is a fire that humanity could never put out. A small crew of explorers volunteered. They were ready to see what everyone else feared. The journey to the forgotten world was slow and tense. The human ship drifted through silence. No signals came from the planet. No ships guarded it. The world looked dead from orbit, wrapped in shadows. Why would a princess live here? One crew member asked. The pilot only shook his head. Why would anyone leave her here alone? The captain whispered. No one had answers. All they knew was that danger waited below. They landed near the ruins of the old palace. The walls were broken, vines crawling through every crack. The wind carried a sound like whispering voices. But no one was speaking. The halls were filled with silence. Yet the silence felt alive. Each step echoed louder than it should have. The crew felt eyes on their backs, but no one was there. Every painting on the walls had the princess's face scratched out. Every statue had been broken. It was as if her people wanted to erase her. Fear grew heavier with every room they crossed. Finally, they reached the central chamber. The doors were tall, carved with alien words. The humans could not read them, but they felt the meaning. Warning, keep away, do not wake her. The captain placed a hand on the door. Ready? He asked. The crew nodded, though their hands trembled. With a heavy push, the doors opened. The chamber was cold and vast. Light from their lamps fell across the floor. At the center, on a high seat, was the figure they had come for, the blind alien princess. She did not move. Her skin was pale, her hair dark as night. Chains wrapped around her wrists and ankles. She sat still, as if waiting. Her eyes were closed. The crew held their breath. She looked peaceful. But there was something strange about her, something that made their hearts race. Then, without warning, her eyes opened. They were white, empty, glowing faintly in the darkness. No pupils, no sight, only endless pale light. One crew member gasped, nearly dropping his weapon. The princess tilted her head. She could not see them, but somehow she knew they were there. Her lips curved into the smallest of smiles. You finally came, she whispered. Her voice was soft but carried through the whole chamber. It was the first sound they had heard on this world. It felt heavy, as if the planet itself was speaking through her. The humans froze. They had expected a monster, a cursed being. But instead they found someone who looked calm, patient, almost fragile. The captain stepped forward carefully. You know who we are? He asked. The princess did not answer. Instead, she raised her head. Her glowing eyes seemed to pierce through the humans. Though blind, she saw them more clearly than anyone had before. Her smile faded into a strange expression, something between sadness and relief. I have waited, she said slowly. My people left me. The galaxy fears me, but you, humans, you are different. The crew exchanged nervous glances. How did she know what they were? How did she know they would come? The princess lowered her head again. Chains rattled as she moved. I am blind, yet I see more than they can. I am cursed, yet I am the truth they cannot face. Her words chilled them. No one dared to speak. Then she whispered again. Will you set me free, or will you run like all the others? The silence in the chamber grew heavy. The humans felt the weight of their decision. One wrong move and the galaxy's prophecy might come true. The crew had come for answers. But now they stood before a choice, trust her or abandon her. The captain's hand shook as he looked at her glowing eyes. He did not know if she was danger or salvation, but deep inside, he felt something strange, not fear, but a pull, as if destiny itself had led them here. The princess tilted her head again, though blind. She looked straight at the captain. Her voice was soft but unshakable. Your choice will change everything, she said. Her words echoed across the chamber, and in that moment, the humans realized the galaxy was wrong about one thing. The blind alien princess was not asleep. She had been waiting all this time, waiting for them. The news of humanity's encounter spread like fire across the galaxy. Alien councils, merchant guilds, and warlords all demanded the same thing. Stay away from the blind princess, they warned. If you free her, if you befriend her, you bring doom upon us all. Human ambassadors sat inside the grand assembly of species. The chamber echoed with voices sharp and filled with fear. A scaled diplomat hissed loudly. That princess is not a person, she is a weapon. She is a curse, another shouted. Her own people chained her. Does that not prove she must remain in chains? Every alien voice was against her. Every alien demanded humanity turn back, but the humans were not so quick to bend. One ambassador stood, his voice calm but firm. You call her cursed, yet none of you have spoken to her. You call her dangerous, yet none of you have looked into her eyes. The chamber erupted in outrage. Fools, humans do not know the risk. Fools. They will destroy us all. But the ambassador only whispered to his aide. Fear makes them blind, and she is blind, but sees more than they do. Back on the human ship, the crew debated endlessly. Some wanted to leave. To escape before they became targets, others wanted to stay. To learn why the princess waited for them. She is dangerous, the pilot said. His voice sharp. She knew who we were before we spoke. She knew our thoughts. But she was alone, whispered the medic. She was chained like an animal, yet she spoke with kindness. Not hate, the captain listened, silent, his eyes fixed on the memory of her glowing white eyes. He had seen many things in space, pirates, storms, wars. But nothing unsettled him like the princess's calm voice. The humans were divided. Fear whispered in their minds, telling them to flee. Curiosity burned in their hearts, pulling them closer to her. It was a dangerous balance. One mistake could doom them, the captain finally spoke. If the galaxy wants us to fear her, then we must ask why. Fear hides truth, but curiosity uncovers it. He looked at his crew. No one else will try, but humanity will if we die for it. Then so be it. Far away in the ruins of her palace, the princess sat in silence. She felt their struggle. Even across distance, though blind, her mind reached far. She touched their thoughts like a soft wind. Their fear was loud, their doubt sharp, but she also felt their curiosity, bright and warm. It gave her a strength she had never known. For the first time, someone was not afraid enough to run. The alien council grew restless. Rumors spread that if the princess joined humanity, no empire could stop them. She was more than a prisoner, she was a symbol of what humans always did, turn fear into alliance. Humanity must be warned, said one chancellor. Humanity must be threatened, said another. So fleets began to gather, ships turned toward her world, not to save her, but to erase her forever. The humans did not know of this yet. They only knew their choice was dangerous. In the captain's quarters, he spoke to his closest officers. When Earth first looked at the sky, people feared the unknown. But still, they sailed across oceans. They walked into dark forests. They stepped onto the moon every time curiosity led us forward. He paused, his voice low. Maybe this princess is another step. Maybe she is danger, maybe she is hope. But I will not let fear decide. The crew looked at one another, their hearts heavy but their spirits rising. They remembered their own history. Once humanity had been called reckless dreamers. Once they were told not to climb, not to explore, not to push forward, but they did, and it made them strong. The same spirit now pushed them toward the princess. The medic finally stood, her voice soft but steady. She asked us one question. Will we set her free or will we run? If we run, we are no different from the others, but if we free her, we may change everything. Her words struck the crew like lightning. They knew she was right, fear could not be their answer. Meanwhile, in her chamber, the princess whispered to herself, "They are coming back." Her chains rattled as she turned her blind eyes toward the stars. They are afraid, but curiosity will bring them. They will not leave me like the others, she smiled faintly, a smile filled with both sorrow and hope. She had seen countless visions of loneliness, but now she sensed something different, something alive, something human. The humans gathered once more, ready to face what awaited them. Some carried weapons, some carried supplies, but all carried doubt. They knew the galaxy would turn against them. They knew danger was near, but curiosity gave them courage. The captain's final words before departure burned in their hearts. Fear is easy, but humanity was not made for easy choices. We were made to step into the dark and light a fire, As their ship descended again toward the cursed palace, the galaxy held its breath. Fear screamed for them to stop. Curiosity whispered for them to go. And in the end, it was curiosity that won. The humans would meet the princess again, and the legend would truly begin. The humans returned to the palace. This time their steps were slower, heavier yet more certain. They had made their choice. Fear would not guide them, curiosity would. The halls were as cold as before, broken walls and empty statues staring like silent guards. But now the crew walked with a strange feeling, as if the shadows themselves were watching, waiting. The great chamber doors opened again. The blind princess was still there, sitting on her high seat, chains around her arms and legs. Her glowing eyes lifted the moment she heard the footsteps. "You came back," she whispered, her voice soft yet sharp. Like it had been waiting only for them, the captain stepped forward, his boots echoing in the hollow chamber. "We said we would. And we keep our word." The princess tilted her head, a faint smile curling on her lips. "So unlike the others," she murmured. "They feared me, they abandoned me, but you return." Even knowing what I am, the crew exchanged nervous glances. One of them asked, "What are you?" The princess leaned forward, her chains rattling against the stone. "I am blind, yet I see. I am silent. Yet I hear more than voices. I am truth. And truth is what they fear." Her glowing eyes fixed on the humans. Though they knew she could not see them, she did not need eyes to know who they were. The medic stepped closer, her voice trembling. You spoke of waiting. Why us? Why humans?" The princess turned her face toward the medic, her expression unreadable. "I do not see shapes. I do not see stars, but I see hearts. Yours burn bright with curiosity. With stubborn hope, my people saw this as danger, but I see it as light." The crew fell silent. Her words touched them in a way they did not expect. The princess continued, her voice steady now. "They chained me not because I was blind, but because I was cursed with vision of the mind. I can hear the thoughts you bury. I can feel the truths you try to hide. I can see what is to come." Her hand lifted slightly. The chain pulled it back, but she did not fight it. "My curse is not blindness, my curse is knowing." The pilot stepped back, uneasy. "You can read minds," he whispered. The princess smiled faintly. "Not all, not always. But enough, your fear is loud. Your doubt louder, yet beneath it. You wonder if I am alone, if I am tired, and the answer is yes." The pilot's face turned pale. His words caught in his throat. She had spoken the very thought he tried to hide. The captain raised his hand, calming the crew. "Then tell us," he said firmly. "What do you want? Why call us here?" The princess bowed her head, her dark hair falling across her pale face. "I want what has been denied to me since birth. Trust, touch, freedom." Her glowing eyes rose again, shimmering like distant stars. "Every empire fears me, but none asked what I fear, none asked what I want. Until you, for the first time." Her voice cracked, trembling like broken glass. "I want to walk without chains. I want to hear laughter, not whispers. I want to know what it means to be seen as more than a curse." Her words filled the chamber with heavy silence. The humans looked at her, not as a monster, not as a prophecy, but as someone who had been abandoned. The medic's eyes watered. She took one slow step forward. The captain grabbed her arm. "Careful," he warned. But the princess raised her chained hands gently. "Do not fear me," she whispered. "Fear kept me alone. Fear built these chains. But you are not like them, I feel it." The medic's hand trembled, yet she placed it softly on the princess's wrist, cold metal separating skin from skin. The princess gasped, a sound so fragile it silenced the crew. It was the first time anyone had touched her without hate, without chains, without fear. Her glowing eyes softened, and for the first time she looked young, almost innocent. She whispered, "Ah, warmth," as if the word itself was a treasure. Her chains rattled as her hand shifted, trying to hold the medics through the iron. "You see me, not the curse, not the prophecy. Just me." The captain stepped forward then, his voice low but strong. "We came because we do not believe in curses. We came because we believe in choice. Your people feared you, but we will not run. If you want freedom, we will help you." The princess's lips trembled, and her eyes glowed brighter, as if her soul itself answered. "You would defy the galaxy for me?" she asked softly. The captain nodded. "We would." At that moment, the chamber seemed to change. The air felt lighter, the silence less cruel. For the first time in her life, the blind alien princess felt something she had never known, Hope, but far beyond the ruined palace. In the darkness of space, fleets were already moving. Alien empires prepared to strike before she could ever leave her world. The galaxy would not allow her freedom, and soon, the humans would face a storm unlike any they had seen before. The princess lifted her blind eyes toward the stars, chains still heavy on her arms. Her voice was almost a whisper, yet it carried power. I have seen fire coming, but with you, perhaps it will not consume everything. Her words left the humans silent, their hearts heavy with what lay ahead, for they now knew the truth. She was not the monster the galaxy feared. She was the truth the galaxy could not face. The humans thought they had gained a fragile peace in the ruined palace. But peace never lasts when fear rules the galaxy. The moment news spread that the blind princess had spoken to humans, panic began. Whispers became orders. Orders became fleets, and fleets began to move. The galaxy was not united in much, but on one thing they agreed. The princess must never be free on distant worlds. Alien leaders shouted in anger. The humans are reckless. They will doom us all. They touched her, they listened to her. They must be stopped before it is too late. In the great chambers of the Interstellar Council, voices clashed like blades. Some demanded humanity be punished. Others demanded the princess be destroyed. Not one voice asked if she was guilty. Not one voice asked if she deserved mercy. Fear drowned out reason. Armadas formed, ships bristling with weapons. Great empires who hated each other for centuries now found common cause. They would rather fight together than let humanity protect the princess. They feared her visions, her mind, her power, but more than that, they feared what humans might do with her trust. Back on the princess's world, the humans felt the change in the air. The captain received intercepted messages. Grim warnings the alien fleets were gathering, their ships turning toward this forgotten planet. The humans knew they had little time. The princess sat in her chamber, her blind eyes glowing faintly, her voice quiet but steady. They come. Do you feel it? She asked. The captain nodded, his jaw tight. We feel it, we hear it. They are afraid of you. She tilted her head, chains rattling softly. No, Captain. They are afraid of you. The words struck the crew like thunder. The princess explained, her tone calm. They could leave me here forever. They already did, but when you touched me, when you spoke to me, you changed the prophecy. They fear not only my curse, but your choice to stand beside it. Her lips curved into a bitter smile. You turned me from a prisoner into a weapon. Not by my will, but by your mercy. The crew fell silent. Her words heavy. The medic finally whispered. Then what do we do? Do we run? The princess turned her glowing eyes toward her, though she could not see her face. You cannot run, the fire is already burning. You can only choose where it spreads. The captain clenched his fists. Then we fight, not to control you, not to use you, but to protect you. The princess lowered her head, her voice trembling for the first time. Do you not understand, Captain? Your fleet is small. Their fleets are endless. If you stay, you will suffer. The captain met her empty gaze without flinching. Then let us suffer together. For once, someone will not leave you alone. Her lips parted as if to argue, but no words came for the first time in her long silence. She felt the weight of loyalty, not fear, not chains, but choice, and it shook her more than any threat. Above the planet, human ships prepared. Their hulls were old compared to the shining armadas of the great empires. Their weapons fewer, their shields weaker, but their resolve was unshakable. Every human knew what was coming, yet no one asked to retreat. They chose to stand beside the princess. Far in space, the enemy fleets closed in. A sea of lights moving through the void. Thousands of ships, banners of different empires, all aimed at one small world, the galaxy's greatest powers. United not by peace, but by fear. They feared the blind princess. They feared humanity's defiance, and so they would come to crush both. Inside the palace, the air grew colder. As if the universe itself held its breath, the princess whispered, I have seen fire, I have seen blood, but in my visions, something else glows brighter. The captain leaned closer. What do you see? Her glowing eyes turned upward, though she was blind to the ceiling above. I see your courage, and it blinds the darkness. I see your hands, not chained, but open. Reaching for mine, her voice trembled. If I am a curse, then let me be cursed beside you. The humans felt the weight of her words. She was no longer only a figure in prophecy. She was a person bound by fear, reaching for trust, and in that moment, they knew they could not abandon her. The alarms rang through the palace. The first enemy signals entered the system. The human crew rushed to their stations. Weapons primed, shields raised. The princess remained seated, but her mind reached far. She could feel the fleets moving, their captains filled with hatred, their soldiers filled with fear. Her glowing eyes closed and she whispered, "Then let us begin." The galaxy had chosen war, and humanity had chosen to protect the one everyone else dreaded. The stage was set, the storm was here, and the legend was only beginning. The human fleet was small, only a handful of ships circling the lonely planet above them. The stars flickered with the approach of something vast. Dozens, then hundreds of enemy ships dropped out of warp, their lights like fireflies against the void. They carried the banners of empires that once hated each other, but now they were united against one girl chained in a ruined palace. The humans watched from their command deck, every screen filled with warnings, every radar filled with hostile signatures. The captain stood tall, but his voice was heavy. "They have come to erase her." No one argued, no one doubted, the truth was clear. Inside the palace, the blind princess sat quietly, her glowing eyes closed. She already felt the storm gathering above. The air itself seemed to vibrate with tension. The chains around her rattled as she whispered, "They are here." The galaxy has chosen fear again. The humans entered the chamber, their boots echoing in the silence. The medic's voice cracked as she asked, "What will they do if they find you?" The princess turned her blind gaze toward her. "They will burn this world. They will crush your fleet. They will call it justice. They will call it safety." Her words were steady, but her face showed sorrow. "Captain, you must leave me. If you protect me, your species will suffer. Your ships will fall." The crew froze. Her voice carried truth like a blade. The captain stepped forward, meeting her pale, glowing eyes. "And if we leave you?" he asked, her lips curved into a bitter smile. "Then I remain alone. The prophecy remains unbroken. The galaxy continues its endless cycle of fear." For a moment, silence ruled the chamber. The crew looked at their captain, waiting for his choice. The princess herself looked almost resigned, as if she expected betrayal once more. But the captain's voice cut through the air, firm and clear. "Then we suffer together, not apart." Her breath caught, her lips trembling as if the words struck deeper than chains ever could. "You would choose pain, you would choose death, only to stand beside me," she whispered. The captain nodded. "Yes, because we are human. We don't abandon the ones who trust us." Her blind eyes glowed brighter, tears shimmering though she could not see them. For the first time in her long life, someone had chosen her, not out of fear, not out of power, but out of loyalty. Her voice broke as she whispered, "Then, I am not alone." The moment was fragile, yet powerful. The humans reached for her, their hands brushing the cold chains. The medic's voice shook. "We will free you." But the princess shook her head gently. "No, not yet. If you break these chains, the galaxy will see rebellion. If I walk beside you free, they will see a weapon, and they will never stop hunting us." Her words carried a strange wisdom. Trust must be proven, not claimed. The alarms blared again, louder this time. The enemy fleet was forming into attack lines, their weapons powering from the palace windows. The sky glowed red as ships prepared to strike. The humans rushed back to their stations. The captain turned one last time to her. "Stay hidden, no matter what happens." But the princess only smiled faintly. "Captain, I will not watch in silence if you stand for me." "Then I stand with you." The first wave of enemy fire lit the sky. Explosions shook the atmosphere, human ships weaving desperately between blasts. Their shields flared, their weapons fired back. But the numbers were overwhelming. The humans were brave. But bravery could not change physics. Metal groaned, alarms screamed. Fire streaked across the void. Inside her chamber, the princess clutched her chains, her blind eyes glowing brighter. She could feel the pilots of the enemy fleet, their fear, their anger, their determination. She could hear their thoughts like distant echoes. She whispered softly, "Forgive me." Her power spread like a ripple, unseen but unstoppable. Enemy pilots faltered, their vision blurred, their minds clouded. Some dropped their weapons, others spun their ships in confusion. For the first time, the galaxy saw the curse awake. Her power was not fire, not destruction. It was truth breaking through lies. The captain's voice rang across the comms. "Hold the line!" The humans pushed harder, inspired by her unseen hand, but every moment cost them. Hulls cracked, lives were lost. the void filled with burning debris. The princess wept silently, her chains rattling as she felt the pain of each fallen human. "This is my fault," she whispered. But deep inside, another voice rose. A voice not of despair, but of resolve. "No, this is my choice." She turned her blind gaze upward toward the stars burning with war. Her power surged again, stronger, brighter. The enemy fleets trembled as fear spread through their minds. Not fear of her, but fear of the humans who stood unbroken. She saw it clearly in their thoughts. The galaxy had made its choice, but so had humanity. And that choice was shaking the stars back on the command deck. The captain's voice cracked as he whispered, "She is with us." And for the first time, the crew believed they had more than weapons. They had her. The trust between them was tested in fire. But it did not break. It became stronger, brighter. And even as the enemy armada closed in, the humans no longer fought alone. The sky above the ruined world was fire. Human ships darted between blasts of plasma, their shields burning, their hulls shaking. The enemy fleet surrounded them like a wall of iron, wave after wave, pressing closer. Every signal screamed the same truth. Humanity was outnumbered, outgunned and outmatched, yet they did not break. Each pilot gritted their teeth. Each ship fought like a cornered lion. For they were not just defending a planet, they were defending a choice. The choice to stand beside the princess when the rest of the galaxy called her cursed. On the command deck, the captain stood firm. His voice carried across every human ship. "We fight not for victory, we fight for belief. We fight to show the galaxy that mercy is stronger than fear." His words lit a fire in tired hearts. Even those who thought they would die smiled through sweat and blood. Inside the palace, the princess felt every pulse of the battle. Her blind eyes glowed brighter, her chains rattling as she held them in trembling hands. The weight of the human sacrifice crushed her chest. Every scream, every flash of pain in the pilots' minds reached her. She whispered to herself, "This is not their war. This is mine." She closed her eyes, sinking deeper into her curse. Her mind reached outward, stretching across the void. Enemy pilots gasped as their thoughts became heavy. Some saw visions of their own fears. Others heard their doubts echo like thunder. The princess's voice entered their minds, soft but unyielding. "Why do you fight me? Why do you obey fear? Look at them, look at the humans. They protect me even in death. Will you call that weakness? Or will you see the truth?" Some ships hesitated. Weapons faltering, others broke formation. Confusion spreading like cracks in glass. The admirals shouted orders, trying to restore control. But belief is harder to command than weapons. And belief was shifting. Back on the human ships, the crew noticed the hesitation. "Their fire is weakening," one pilot shouted. The captain narrowed his eyes. "No, it is not their weapons. It is their hearts." He turned toward the palace, whispering, "She is with us." The princess strained against her chains, her body trembling, sweat running down her pale skin. The more she reached, the heavier the burden became. The thoughts of thousands pressed into her mind. She felt their anger, their fear, their hatred. But she also felt cracks, small seeds of doubt breaking through. Her lips parted in a whisper. "Truth is heavier than lies, but truth can set even enemies free." The medic rushed to her side. "You're hurting yourself. Stop. You'll die." The princess shook her head weakly, her glowing eyes trembling. "If I do nothing, your people die. If I burn, then let me burn for them, for you, for the first ones who saw me." Her voice cracked, but her will did not. "I will not be silent anymore." Above the planet, the battle shifted. Human ships fought harder. Inspired by her strength, enemy ships wavered, some firing wildly, some breaking away. The galaxy had come to destroy a curse, but instead they were witnessing a legend. The captain's voice roared across comms. "Look at her, look at what they fear, not destruction but courage, not doom but mercy. They fear that we chose her, and they fear that she chose us." The words echoed not only to humans, but through open channels the enemy could hear. And for the first time, some of the enemy soldiers questioned why they were here. The admiral screamed in fury, "Hold the line, crush them. The prophecy must not change." But prophecies bend when hearts shift. And in the chaos of fire and belief, the enemy line cracked. The princess lifted her head, her eyes glowing like twin stars. "I see it," she whispered. "Their hearts are changing. They begin to see. They begin to doubt fear." Her body shook violently, but she smiled through the pain. "This is the battle of belief. And you are winning." The humans pressed forward. For every ship they lost, they pushed two enemies back. For every scream of death, they answered with courage. They did not fight with numbers, they fought with meaning, and meaning is heavier than fleets. One enemy squadron broke apart, refusing to fire. Another turned its weapons away. The admirals cursed them as traitors, but it was too late. The seed of doubt had spread too far. The captain's heart raced as he saw the shift. He whispered to himself. They came to erase her, but now they see her. Truly see her. The princess lowered her head. Exhausted, her chains rattling softly, her body was weak, but her spirit burned brighter than ever. She had seen visions of fire, visions of destruction, but now she saw something else. She saw humans and aliens alike questioning fear. She saw belief rising in the ashes of hate. The medic held her shoulders as she nearly collapsed. "Stay with us, please." The princess gave the faintest smile. "I am with you always, even if the stars burn out. I am with you." The battle raged on, but the tide had changed. It was no longer a fight of weapons alone. It was a fight of meaning, of truth, of belief. And belief was stronger than fear. As the enemy fleets faltered, as humans stood unbroken, the legend was born in fire and mercy. And though the battle was far from over, one truth was clear. The galaxy had seen something it could never forget. The cursed blind princess was no longer alone. She had humanity at her side, and together, they had turned fear into doubt and doubt into hope. The fire of battle slowly dimmed. Human ships floated scarred but still alive, their hulls glowing red from heat and damage. The enemy fleets pulled back, their once unshakable lines broken. Silence spread across the void, a silence heavier than any explosion. The galaxy had watched, every transmission, every signal, carried the images of what happened here. Millions of eyes across 1,000 worlds saw the same thing. Humanity standing beside the blind princess. Humanity refusing to run when everyone else had chosen fear. In the palace, the princess lay weak, her body trembling from the weight of her power. The medic pressed a cloth to her forehead, whispering, "Rest. You've done enough." But the princess shook her head faintly. "No, not enough, never enough, but I am not alone now." Her blind eyes glowed softly, no longer harsh, no longer frightening. They were filled with something new, something fragile. Hope. The captain stood at the shattered window, staring at the stars where enemy ships retreated. He spoke to his crew, his voice rough but steady. "They came to destroy us, and yet here we stand, not because of fire, not because of weapons, but because we believed." His words carried across the comms, to every human ship still alive, and to his surprise, open channels carried his words into enemy ears as well. Far across the galaxy, soldiers, civilians, and rulers listened. They heard a human voice speak, not of conquest, not of power, but of belief. Some sneered. Some trembled, but many were silent, unable to deny what they had seen. The princess raised her head slowly, her voice weak yet clear. "You chose mercy, and mercy has changed everything. They will never see me the same again." The captain turned to her. "Then let them see you for what you truly are, not a curse, but a person." Her lips trembled into the faintest smile. A person. Yes, I had forgotten what that felt like. The crew gathered around her, their hearts heavy yet proud. They had risked everything, and though the battle was not victory in numbers, it was victory in meaning. The galaxy had seen the impossible. The cursed blind princess was no longer chained by silence. She had been given trust, and in turn, she had given the galaxy a glimpse of truth. But not all were ready to accept it. In the council halls of distant worlds, rulers argued. "Humanity must be punished," some said. "She is too dangerous still," others cried. But beneath the noise, whispers began to spread. "Perhaps she is not the curse we thought. Perhaps humanity has shown us something different." Whispers grew into murmurs. Murmurs grew into questions, and questions are the beginning of change. Back in the palace, the princess looked at the captain, her voice soft as falling rain. "In my visions, I always saw fire. I always saw destruction, but now, I see something else. I see myself walking among stars, not as a curse, but as a guide, and beside me I see you. I see humanity." The captain met her glowing gaze without fear. "Then let us walk together," he said simply. And for the first time she believed it could be true. The humans helped her stand, the chains clinking softly. Though still bound, she walked forward. Supported by the crew, each step echoed in the chamber, louder than the silence that had once ruled it. It was not just the sound of footsteps. It was the sound of change. Outside, the stars bore witness. Ships that had come to destroy her now retreated in silence. Some crews lowered their banners, unsure of what they believed anymore, for they had seen her tears. They had heard her voice, and they could not forget. Legends are not born in comfort. They are born in fire and sacrifice, in choices that defy fear. And so the legend of the blind alien princess began, not as a curse, not as a prophecy of doom, but as a story of mercy, of humanity reaching out where no one else dared. Children across distant worlds would one day hear the tale. They would hear how humans stood against an armada. They would hear how a cursed princess became a symbol of unity, and they would ask why others had feared her for so long. The answers would fade, but the legend would remain. The captain looked at his crew, battered yet unbroken. He looked at the princess, fragile yet radiant, and he whispered, "This is only the beginning." The princess closed her glowing eyes, her lips curving into a soft smile. "Yes," she breathed, "the beginning of a future no vision ever showed me." And so the galaxy turned slowly, painfully but undeniably, toward a new story, a story written not by fear, but by the simple truth that humanity had always carried, that mercy is stronger than chains, that hope is stronger than prophecy, and that even the most dreaded figure can become a legend if someone dares to reach out.